You probably know this guy, or this girl. Maybe you even see this person in the mirror every morning. In school, they were called a prodigy. Teachers predicted a brilliant career. Relatives were practically waiting for the Nobel Prize. He grasps everything on the fly, has a great sense of humor, is well-read, and can hold a conversation about quantum physics or French cinema. But years pass. The classmates he considered gray mice have become department heads, opened bakeries, and started families. But our hero? He's still in the same spot, and he still shows promise. He feels like a Ferrari sitting in a garage, revving the engine in neutral, while boring family sedans drive past him on the highway. Today, we are going to dissect one of the most painful topics of modern times. In Jungian psychology, this is called puer aeternus, the eternal boy, or puella aeterna, the eternal girl. It is the diagnosis of an entire generation stuck in childhood. Marie-Louise von Franz, a student of Jung, dedicated an entire book to this phenomenon. She argued that the main trait of such a person is not just simple infantilism, but a specific neurosis of the provisional life. I'm going to tell you why you feel like an imposter, why talent becomes a curse, and how, damn it, to grow up without killing the joy of life. Let's look the truth in the eye. Poors are damn charming. These aren't shut-ins or social outcasts. No, they are the life of the party. They are spontaneous. Their eyes light up. When you meet someone like this, you think, wow, what energy. This person is definitely going to change the world. They have a spark. They generate genius ideas for startups, write the first 3 chapters of a great American novel, or start learning Japanese with incredible enthusiasm. The problem is their gas tank only lasts until the first steep hill. The poor lives by the principle of all or nothing. He isn't interested in being just a competent specialist. He wants to be Elon Musk, Tarantino, or a rock star. Average is an insult to him. What does this look like in practice? This person despises routine. He has his head in the clouds, asking philosophical questions about the meaning of existence, but forgets to pay the internet bill or book a dentist appointment. His domestic life is often chaotic. He's like a teenager waiting for someone to come and clean up after him while he's busy thinking about greatness. They hate small talk, mindless chatter about the weather. They want conversations about the fate of the galaxy, but this intellectual snobbery is a trap. People admire them at first, but eventually they start to feel irritated. Why? Because words are never followed by action. Potential that goes unrealized for years starts to rot, and everyone around can smell that rot, especially the poor himself. The root of the problem lies in the conflict between fantasy and reality. In the poor's head, everything is perfect. In there, he's already made the movie, won the Oscar, and is giving an interview on Joe Rogan. But as soon as he sits down to write the script, it turns out to be hard, the plot doesn't stick, the dialogue is flat. Reality always loses to fantasy. Reality is rough, boring, and requires effort. As soon as the poor encounters the first resistance from the material, he quits. He says, I guess this isn't for me. If this were my calling, it would come easily. That is the lie he feeds himself. In relationships, this turns into a tragedy. Jung called this the projection of the anima. The poor man isn't looking for a living woman, but a goddess, a muse, a mother. She must be perfect, beautiful, understanding, sexy, and have no problems of her own. As soon as the real girl shows character, gets tired, or God forbid gets sick, the spell breaks. She's not the one, he decides, and goes looking for the next one. It is an endless cycle of infatuation and disappointment. In modern reality, this often degenerates into pickup artist culture, or conversely retreating into virtual relationships with a waifu, because a drawn character will never betray you and never ask you to take out the trash. The person cannot accept that love isn't just butterflies in the stomach, but compromises, a mortgage, and boring nights in front of the TV. He wants an eternal holiday. The poor's biggest fear is the fear of definition. As long as he hasn't chosen anything, he can be anyone. This is the position of an embryo, a stem cell. There is a beautiful metaphor by Sylvia Plath in her novel, The Bell Jar. The protagonist sits in the crotch of a fig tree. Each fig on the tree represents a life path. In one, she is a famous poet. In another, a brilliant professor. In a third, a happy mother. In a fourth, a traveler. She sits there and cannot choose a single fig, because to choose one means losing all the others. And while she hesitates, the figs begin to wrinkle, go black, and drop to the ground. The poor does the same thing. He doesn't choose a profession. because he's afraid of cutting off other options. If I go into marketing, I'll never become a musician, and as a result, he works as a courier or an admin at 35 because it's temporary. His whole life is a rough draft. He lives with the feeling that his real life will start tomorrow on Monday or next year. But the paradox is that by not making a choice, you are still making a choice. You are choosing the rotting figs. You start 5 projects and finish none. Your life turns into a graveyard of unfinished construction. You don't accumulate mastery, you accumulate regrets. And when life backs you into a corner, bills need paying, a family needs feeding, the poor takes a hated job and suffers. He does it poorly with contempt, believing he is above this. This creates a hellish internal conflict. I am a genius forced to push paper. How does the psyche protect itself from realizing this failure? The poor has an entire arsenal of tricks, waiting for kairos. The ancient Greeks divided time into chronos, the flow of hours, and kairos, the opportune moment. The poor believes he just needs to wait for the perfect moment, inspiration, the right people, a crisis. He doesn't act, he waits for a sign from above, blaming the external. You can't do business in this country, I don't have connections, like my boss is an idiot. If success depends on external forces, then failure does too. This is very convenient, it removes responsibility. The neurosis of uniqueness. The poor often finds specific traits in himself that prevent him from being like everyone else. A depression, ADHD, a sensitive soul, childhood trauma. I am not devaluing real problems, but the poor uses them as a shield. I'm not lazy, I'm traumatized. He nurses his pain instead of treating it, because the pain makes him special. The hair in the soup. This is perfectionism as a form of sabotage. The work is almost done, but there's a tiny flaw. That's it, delete it, it's trash. The girl is beautiful, but she has a weird laugh. Break up. The poor doesn't know how to separate the flies from the cutlets, he throws away the whole dish. I say this harshly because I went through it myself. 10 years ago, I wanted to write a script that Netflix would buy immediately. I didn't want to write scripts for school plays or commercials. I wanted to be great or nobody. Guess what I chose? Being nobody. This isn't ambition, it is cowardice. Behind the grandiose plans hides a small, frightened child who is terrified that if he tries and the result is just average, his world will collapse. Modern culture adds fuel to the fire. Social media sells us the illusion that you can hack the system. Look at these gurus on the internet. They say, only suckers work, right? Escape the matrix, make $1 million in a week on crypto, CN. Then they are selling the poor fantasy. They promise results without the process. Get rich without working, be a macho man without having real relationships. All this Sigma male and red pill aesthetic is often just a refuge for offended little boys. They think they've chosen the harsh truth, the red pill, but in reality they've chosen the sweetest illusion. I am the chosen one and everyone else is a sleeping herd. It is a narcissistic bubble. Instead of going to study, working as a junior assistant and gaining experience, the poor sits in the comment section criticizing those who are actually doing something. He levels up an elf in a video game to level 80 because progress there is guaranteed. But in life, you can study for a year and fail. That risk paralyzes him. The same applies to Poya women. It's trendy now to live a soft life, to be in flow, waiting for a high-value provider who will solve all problems. This is a refusal to grow up. It's the desire to remain an eternal princess who never becomes the queen mother, because a queen bears responsibility for the kingdom, while a princess just tries on dresses. Jung said a terrifying thing. The cure for this neurosis is work. Sound banal? Let's think about it. We aren't talking about workaholism as an escape. We are talking about the capacity to endure boredom. Growing up is the transition from the pleasure principle to the reality principle. It is the ability to do what is necessary even when there is no inspiration. The way out of the poor trap is the death of potential for the sake of realization. You must kill the person who could be everything inside you in order to become something specific. Practical steps: kill the alternatives, choose one sphere, and hammer away at one point. Yes, you will miss other opportunities. Yes, it hurts, but it is the only way to move from a standstill. I love the plateau. In any learning process, there is a quick start and then a long plateau where there is no visible progress. Pures quit here, masters stay, learn to get high on monotony, on repetition like in the gym. Muscles don't grow from one workout, they grow from boring regularity. Ground yourself through chores. Jordan Peterson became a meme with the phrase, clean your room, but he's right. If your life is chaos, start with the physical world. Wash the dishes, make your bed. This is willpower training. You are subjecting chaos to order. Don't look for heroic feats. A feat is going to a job you currently hate to pay for retraining courses. A feat is not dumping your partner after the first fight. A feat is being an ordinary person who keeps their word. In conclusion, you need to know this. There is a Japanese proverb. Before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. Magic doesn't exist. There is no secret ingredient. All we have is our attention and our time. Stop waiting for your great life to begin. It is already happening. And it consists of these small, invisible, boring choices you are making right now. If this video hit a nerve, good. That means there is a part of you that wants to grow up. Don't drown out that voice. Subscribe if you are ready for serious conversations. Stop flying in your dreams. It's time to wake up. Share your thoughts in the comments.